there's huge incidence of lung cancer correlated not only to cigarette smoking, but also to breathing in smog day in, day out. The ICRI project involves Intel kindly providing London Borough of Enfield with a large number of sensors, up to 100. It's going to give us much more information about the extent to which air pollution is felt at different distances from the main road arteries.
So we're in Trent Park today up in Enfield, and we're doing some updates to the air quality monitors. It was Councillor Alan Sitkin that actually contacted us initially. He was aware that we were doing monitoring around London, and he was keen to explore air quality at the very broader sense across the whole borough.
I was very impressed by the mindset at ICRI, and I thought that it would help our purposes here in London Borough of Enfield to plug into that.
In Enfield, we've been really interested in trying to understand how you can deploy across a whole borough level a large number of sensors.
What the project does for us, it gives us a lot more pollution sensors throughout the borough. So whereas now we have 4 real-time sites measuring air quality, this will give us another 80 to 100 sites all over, giving us information at places we would never have monitored.
We're standing in the North Circular because it's one of London's busiest roads. Recently I've seen a study saying that certain stretches right along here or a bit further down are actually London's most polluted roads. There's definitely a problem here for our local residents in terms of the health implications of being in proximity to constant smog coming from all the cars you see coming by. The accumulation of data will allow us to double check with other databases like the NHS health records to what extent people's health problems are correlated to proximity to major smog locations. Here we're about 50 yards up from the North Circular, and yet what we don't know is to what extent the smog that you feel directly in the North Circular is also infiltrating people's airways, passageways, when they get 50 yards up.
Is the air quality in areas where we think it's good, is it really good, or are there pollution hotspots we didn't know about? From our point of view as a local authority, what we're looking for is data to flag up situations that we didn't know about, and then what we can do is we can look to modify our air quality action plan, which sets out how we as an authority are going to improve air quality. We can tailor it to specific areas. As a council, we don't control the North Circular Road or the M25, which borders our borough, or the A10, which runs through our borough to central London. What it can do is let us take some local initiatives. There might be areas where there's hotspots around school times, which would indicate idling engines, so we can put forward initiatives to stop people idling engines. It might be there's areas where people are burning rubbish and having garden bonfires around allotments. We can target those. So there are lots of little local actions that these sensors are hopefully going to feed into and provide us with information on.
Our hope is that the knowledge and data that we accumulate in our collaboration will help to influence behavior change, but that's quite a challenge. We believe that knowledge empowers people, and the idea that we're working on is that with the data we'll be sharing through this program, people will have greater understanding on a day-to-day basis that there's a direct link between their behavior, their driving behavior I should say, and the smog from which they suffer.
We're putting sensors into 19 to 20 schools. The schools will then be able to use that data themselves as part of their own publicity for parents, tell the children about their air quality and what's happening. Children then go back home and tell their parents, look, when we drive to school, this is what's happening. And that's where we start the culture for change.
I've updated the board, I've updated the firmware, and I checked status messages and the logs to make sure that everything's okay. So it's now connected to the web and it's transmitting data live, so that's fantastic.
So as part of the Living Labs work that we've been doing, we've obviously been really interested in trying to understand how these boxes operate in the longer term. So this device has been up now for near on a year, and so it's good to be able to come back to these devices and just check that they are still dry inside. There's no problems with the hardware itself, and so that's been a really good test case for us.
One of the major benefits of monitoring these sensors in real time, they let us understand our environment and better contextualize that, but they also let us better understand the technology itself. We're using the changes in the sensors over time, the age and degradation, to make, rather than a theoretical guess of how they work, an actual model of how they work. And that'll allow us to work with our partners to make better and more accurate sensors in the future.
We put some sensors into Trent Park, one of the green areas within the borough. Now, at first glance, it was kind of, well, we know the air quality is good there, why bother measuring it? And the answer was quite simply, well, why not tell a good news story within the park of here's an area within Enfield across the 81 square kilometres where, consistently the air quality is really good. Use it as an attractor to get people going to those spaces.
I think a lot of urban planners share the vision that we need a world where people walk, they converse, they interact more. I don't think we will have zero cars, but there's no doubt that there's been an overdependence on car, and we're thinking that down the road, efforts such as the one we're undertaking with the ICRI will help to contribute to that new, more sustainable world.